Welcome back to the show. Line number 8, Simon Lono, you're on the air.
Good day. How are you doing today?
Very well, sir. I'm having a hard time remembering all the names of the new provincial districts. You are looking for the nomination in...
Virginia Waters, Pleasantville.
Virginia Waters, Pleasantville. I'm going to have to figure this out pretty soon. Anyway.
I know, and there's almost 40 new names. It's going to be a drag for all of us trying to keep it all straight.
Yeah, it absolutely is. What's on your mind this morning, sir?
Well, I wanted to talk about. Actually, it's funny that Colin was talking about Greece. One thing about the Greeks is that the Greeks have been occupying that plot of land out there for 2,500, 3,000 years or more. And as long as there are people on the planet, I suspect that they will continue to be occupying that place 2,500 or 2,000 years from now.
Well, assuming that they have someone who's willing to operate a solvent bank, I think you're right.
I've been thinking about this a lot over the past few days, and I wanted to make a couple of comments on it.
Sure.
Last week was the 22nd anniversary of the cod moratorium.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time when that happened, I was a junior staffer for Clyde Wells, and I was working up in the Confederation building at the time in a little office with no windows. And I remember this paperwork coming across my desk that said that the federal government was imposing, without any kind of prior consultation, a complete moratorium on cod. Period.
Yep.
And there was no discussion. Not, do you think this is a good idea, or what are your thoughts on this? This is what was going to happen. And at the time, they said it was going to be for 2 years. That's 22 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, and I had to go through and try and figure out some of the implications of this. And I remember at the time thinking, this changes everything. This changes everything for the province. This changes the economy of rural Newfoundland and the entire province. It changes the demographics. What are we going to do with all these people? Where is government going to be getting the revenue? And I don't think people really appreciate now that at the time, how close we were to a Greek situation, where all of a sudden the economy goes through just a huge contraction. There is a huge amount of unemployment that just shoots right up to the sky, and government revenues fall through the floor, all simultaneously. And the thing that really saved us in this province was the fact that we were not a sovereign state.
Oh, absolutely.
If we were a sovereign state, we would have gone the Greek route. It would have been a complete and total disaster. It was bad enough as it was, but the thing that really saved us was the fact that we were a province of Canada.
Well, the Bank of Canada and the CDIC saved us.
Yep, and the idea that, and the fact that it was at that time and continues to be a federal resource under federal management meant that they were the ones responsible for providing compensation, for providing assistance, for providing structural adjustments of all kinds. And John Crosby actually was deeply involved with that project. When Clyde Wells and John Crosby couldn't get along and couldn't stand to be in the same room without one or the other screaming at the other one, they knew how to work together, and they knew how to work together for the benefit of the province.
That package, which was wage subsidies, retraining, top-up of stamps, the structural issues that had to be addressed, you're right. If it wasn't for the willingness to work across the aisle and the Bank of Canada, the insurance of all of our deposits in everything which is governed by the Bank of Canada, we would have been going down the road of the Greeks, and it would not have ended as easily as I think theirs may. And they'll strike another deal here with the Germans, I assume, but we'll see how it goes. Simon, it's a fascinating part of our history, and I think when we all talk about we'd like to splinter away from the country, we forget that it was the country that saved our bacon too. So anyway.
Oh, it really was. And the fisheries converted over to crab and shrimp and things like that, and that kind of sort of filled that hole a little bit. But really, the hole in government revenues and the hole in sort of the general economy didn't get filled in until oil prices shot up.
That's right. Yep,
and
sure.
That's what really brought us where we are today, is when the oil prices started hitting $100+ a barrel. That's when things started to heal. That's when people started to get good jobs again. That's when government revenue started to improve so that we could bring in, we weren't running deficits anymore. We're actually starting to run surpluses.
That being said, Simon, and I know you're going to be a Liberal candidate, do you think that's where some people get carried away with the squandering of the $20 billion that came in the form of oil revenue over, say, the 10, 12 years, whatever the numbers people are choosing to use, when in fact with the deficits that we're running, the structural and the infrastructure deficit in this province was getting out of control to the point where we were going to be hard-pressed to ever catch up. And even now, with the money we spent on infrastructure, we still have up-teen bridges that are on a list to be replaced. We have roads that are in deplorable condition in every nook and cranny. Do you think people exaggerate the squander of the $20 billion?
I wouldn't say that we squandered $20 billion. I would say that $20 billion came in. Some of it went to filling that fiscal hole that needed to be filled. Some of it went into filling that infrastructure deficit that needed to be filled. But some of it, some of it was just squandered. Some of it was spent on things that, there was a treasurer in Alberta, I guess the equivalent of our finance minister, who said that expenditures track revenues. And what he meant by that is when government doesn't have much money, it doesn't spend much money. When it has lots and lots of money, it spends lots and lots of money.
It does.
And that's what the government did. It really, it thought it was going to last forever, is the other part of it. Like nobody, I don't think anybody in the province was more shocked and more surprised than the big boys in Department of Finance when they realized that, oh my God, the price of oil is going down.
Well, they should have referred to their own energy plan.
Yes.
Because they guessed it.
Well, the Muskrat Falls is based on the idea that energy prices will continue to increase indefinitely.
Yeah, but I think the energy plan in 2007 was forecasting the price of a barrel of oil pretty spot on, pretty close to where we are today. I think point being...
They didn't pay attention, then the boys in finance didn't pay attention to their own energy plan.
They didn't, and I think that's the summary point here. So hoping that, crossing your fingers, hoping it will last forever, but without referring back to your own research and forecasts inside your own documents is a strange contradiction. But anyway, we'll leave it at that for this morning. Did you want to talk quickly about the fishery before I have to go to the news?
No, that's good. I just wanted to talk about the fact that the idea, we look at the Greeks and we say that could never ever happen to us. But we came awfully close to that before.
We were staring it right in the face, and all the while, to this day, we badmouth Ottawa. And some of it's absolutely deserved by folks and people in positions of power in Ottawa, but it's also that position of partnership in the Confederation that without it, It's
not a perfect relationship, but no relationship is.
Exactly right. Simon, I appreciate your time this morning.
Have a good morning.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Sam Malono is going to be, or he's hoping to be the Liberal candidate in Virginia Waters, Pleasantville.